Hey class, Dr. DeVita, study night, and Module 5 Initial Reflection on Socioeconomic Status, SES, and Religious Oppression. There's two questions. The first is, do you see any validity between SES and religious oppression and the issues assessed in the IAT activities? In terms of SES and religious oppression, I think that these are two universal filters that everyone views the world. And what I mean is, like the module that we just went through, adultism, ageism, and disabilities, these issues are things that can't be avoided by anyone. Um, and by that, I mean, like, where a white person can sort of be dismissive of certain civil rights issues that a black person couldn't be, or that, certain straight people could pretty much live their whole lives without having to sincerely contemplate gay rights issues. Everyone is shaped by their SES class status, and everyone responds to the religiosity of their society in terms of developing their ontological beliefs. In other words, what they perceive as reality. Some Christians would even argue that religion is the source of morality of which we base our lives. Of course, I disagree, but the fact that a majority agrees with that statement makes religion the designing factor of most people's realities and morals. Its intersections with SES is that typically, poor people or people of low SES are less educated, and less educated demographics are remarkably more religious. So SES in religion doesn't just color how you view the world. In my opinion, it designs it. My results, is in religion, no automatic preference between Islam and Judaism. As an atheist, I find them both equally absurd, so therefore I don't really have a preference. I practice acceptance and respect for the individuals. However, on this front, I favor neither. In terms of disability, there's no automatic preference between disability persons and abled people. If anything, after reading the last module, I would probably give some preference for disabled people, as now I personally believe that we are all disabled in our own unique way. In terms of age, a slight preference for young people, duh. I'm going to grad school to work at a college, and, what are at colleges? Mostly young people. Do I believe, as the question asked, do I see any validity between SES and religious oppression and the issues and the results of the IAT activities? Absolutely. As stated up top, I think class and religion, or in opposition to both, create your worldviews more than most social justice issues. It's not just it's just more subtle and systemic. It's what we call our realities. Next question. How does SES and religious affiliation intersect with other identities? This kind of feeds into the first question. I believe that both define your ontological realities. What's real, what's moral, what's right, what's wrong. Therefore, who's right and who's wrong? Different people have varying degrees to what extent class and religion is important to them. I would argue that this is a very recent luxury in history, though. But I would say that, the most empirical response to this question is the ideas in the book of social, cultural, and economic capital. Social capital being social resources such as education, healthcare, political connectedness, and legal and financial resources. Cultural capital, knowledge, ties into the first social capital, which is education, language, the self-presentation needed to leverage major social institutions. This is what Dr. Oxendine calls, understanding the rules of the game, being able to, play the system more than other people, which is the difference between first and second generation students. Economic capital, wealth enhanced by income. This is the security, kind of taps into the Maslow's hierarchy thing. And I do think that, all of these do interconnect. I listened to a Cracked podcast once talking about a person at a law firm. They won't hire women that have a Southern accent to be the receptionist, because what they don't want is the first thing for a person to do is come into the law office and have the presentation of this law firm be this woman with a Southern accent. This woman could be more qualified, she could have a better education, but just the fact that people perceive her as having low social capital, affects that law firm as a whole. The same as a lot of people don't want a lawyer with a Southern accent. They find that juries find them less convincing. Juries don't trust them. They question their education. And, I face that in my own life. I have a very bad Southern accent to the point to where when I do say something smart, I find that most people are often surprised by it. So, I have that to overcome myself, and all of this is embedded into my social, cultural, and economic capital. My social economic status, coming from a rural area, Mississippi, and, how all of that ties together. And this unfortunately presents to the world, who I am. And in a way, this determines the trajectory of my life and my reality, my success or lack thereof. And I'm afraid that that's true for everyone else. I look forward to watching your other videos and seeing you in class.